So you can't be the same as the sovereign if you're the Prince of Wales or the heir.
With the King reportedly ruling out any suggestion of a part-time role for the Duke of Sussex. Our Europe correspondent Ben Downey reports.
This is not a request, it is an order under the Royal Financial Accountability Charter, Section 12, known as the Windsor Clause. The Crown made one thing brutally clear. Royal resources were never meant to be and will never become a private bank. This explosive joint statement from King Charles III and Princess Anne left no room for negotiation or spin. Issued on April 12, 2025, the shockwave truly hit on December 4, 2025, when Buckingham Palace stunned even hardened royal watchers by formally ordering Prince Harry and Meghan Markle to repay £5.2 million in misused royal expenditures. Signed by both King Charles III and Princess Anne, the statement dropped during rising tensions as the Sussexes continued resisting full financial separation while still pushing for restored privileges. That includes demands for taxpayer-funded armed police protection. The declaration was sharp, detailed, and final. No soft edges, no escape routes. Every debt must be settled, every entitlement reviewed, and no exceptions will be made for former working royals who reject both responsibility and royal protocol. Princess Anne confirmed privately at Clarence House on May 12, 2025. The timing was absolutely intentional. This moment followed 5 long years of lawsuits, interviews, and public battles where the Duke and Duchess of Sussex painted themselves as victims of royal neglect, all while quietly benefiting from state-linked support. This action draws the hardest line yet, spelling out exactly what it means to walk away from the monarchy and the real cost of trying to stand half in and half out. According to a classified appendix leaked by a senior Treasury liaison, the Royal Accounting Office flagged 3 major zones of unauthorized spending. At the centre, Frogmore Cottage and Nottingham Cottage renovations totalling £2.8 million, approved in 2018 under the sovereign grant to support full-time royal duties. But after stepping back in 2020, the couple failed to return keys, failed to absorb depreciation, and failed to cover ongoing maintenance. Despite a partial repayment of £2.4 million in 2021, security and estate upkeep costs kept stacking up. Another £1.6 million between January 2020 and October 2022 alone. Palace records confirm private security firms and estate staff were still deployed for Sussex properties and travel even after the couple declared independence. The message from the Crown was blunt. It will not bankroll half royals. You are either in or you are out. No middle lane, no loopholes. As stated in the Lord Chamberlain's Office memorandum dated August 12, 2025, this was non-negotiable. During the drawn-out exit, Oprah's 2021 interview, lawsuits against British tabloids, and constant public rebuttals, investigators found that several legal fees and media consultants were unintentionally covered through royal charitable infrastructure. This included support traced back to the Royal Foundation's former media division, raising serious internal concerns. This unprecedented crackdown rests squarely on Section 12 of the 2023 Royal Financial Accountability Charter, the Windsor Clause, ratified in March 2023 after massive public backlash over unchecked royal spending. The clause gives the Crown power to retroactively audit and reclaim funds misused by non-working or former royals. The clause was originally proposed by Princess Anne and passed with unanimous Privy Council approval. For centuries, we upheld duty and discretion. This simply puts those expectations into law, Princess Anne said at the charter signing ceremony on March 15, 2023. But the announcement didn't stop there. In the same communication, the royal household reaffirmed that Prince Harry and Meghan Markle have no entitlement to armed police protection in the UK, no matter their fame, charity work, or travel schedule. This clarification landed days after Harry formally petitioned the Risk Management Board to reassess his security classification. The removal of armed protection in 2020 was not random or punitive. It followed long-standing Home Office policy for non-working royals. This was confirmed again in a closed-door parliamentary briefing on June 12, 2025. After losing multiple court cases between 2021 and 2024 over UK security rights, Harry pivoted toward political lobbying, backed, ironically, by two Labour MPs who signed a pro-Meghan letter back in 2019. Whitehall sources confirmed Harry's new RMB request was approved on November 28th, though results won't land until mid-January 2026. Even then, officials stress an RMB review does not equal restored protection, only a reassessment of threat levels. Inside the royal family, reactions range from tight-lipped unity to open frustration. Prince William was reportedly briefed 48 hours before the statement dropped and fully backed its legal tone. Meghan will not be welcomed back, not by the family and not by the country. Demanding armed protection while attacking the institution is coercion, William stated in a palace aid memo dated March 12, 2025. Queen Camilla stayed publicly silent but appeared smiling during a December 7th visit to the set of Rivals in Bristol, a quiet but telling signal of who remains in the fold. King Charles, despite ongoing health concerns, was described by aides as calm, focused, and resolute when signing the order alongside his sister. Palace insiders say this decision followed months of failed diplomatic outreach to the Sussexes. Harry and Meghan now have until midnight on December 31st, 2025, to formally respond and begin repayment, or face consequences including potential removal of their Duke and Duchess titles. That includes immediate revocation of remaining patronages and removal from ceremonial records such as the Order of Precedence, Royal Marriages Act registry, and official parliamentary family trees. Multiple royal correspondences stress this is not a bluff, this is institutional shutdown. This marks the beginning of formal closure. On November 28th, 2025, the Home Office confirmed Harry's petition for a new Risk Management Board assessment, his latest move in a 5-year legal fight to regain UK armed protection despite being a non-working royal. The approval came just 6 days before the financial restitution order landed like a thunderclap. Some see the timing as coordinated pushback, others as desperation, a final grab for relevance. Even with a reassessment, insiders warn it won't erase the debt or rewrite the rules. A senior Whitehall security advisor told The Times on February 12, 2025, that the RMB is not a royal body. It's a security panel made up of counter-terror specialists, law enforcement, royal protection veterans, and intelligence analysts. Their mission is risk, not reputation. Harry's argument has stayed the same. His royal background, military service, and global profile create unique threats that justify protection even as a private citizen. But courts between 2021 and 2024 repeatedly ruled otherwise, stressing that he voluntarily stepped away from official duties and therefore gave up taxpayer-funded privileges, including armed police protection. This new RMB review is not happening in a vacuum, far from it. Palace insiders say Prince Harry may be betting big on a shifting political landscape. Since the Labour Party took power in July 2025, two senior figures now overseeing the Home Office, Shabana Mahmood and Yvette Cooper, have well-documented histories of public sympathy toward Meghan Markle. Both women were signatories to the 2019 letter of solidarity condemning press intrusion against the Duchess. That fact alone has sparked quiet alarm inside both the palace and Whitehall. The Risk Management Board is supposed to operate independently, but insiders admit the Sussex camp has been lobbying hard behind the scenes. That much is obvious, according to a former royal protection officer speaking privately on August 12, 2025. Leaked emails reported by The Telegraph reveal Harry's legal team submitted additional threat intelligence, including private US-based security briefs, to reinforce his case. Whether the RMB will accept those documents as credible risk data or dismiss them as narrative shaping remains an open question. On December 5, 2025, just 1 day after the RMB review became public, the royal household issued a sharp secondary clarification to its financial restitution order. This time, the language cut deeper. Police protection is governed by law, not bloodline. The Crown has no obligation to intervene in security determinations and will not bankroll protection for individuals operating outside royal governance. It is not a palace matter, read the statement signed by the Lord Chamberlain on May 12, 2025. Translation: even if the RMB flags Harry as high risk, the palace won't pay a single penny. Without a working royal role, the Sussexes remain excluded from integrated royal security operations at official events unless explicitly invited and formally scheduled. That single clarification shuts down the fantasy of a quiet royal comeback through security loopholes. For Harry, this RMB reassessment isn't just about bodyguards. It's about legitimacy, access, and leverage. Without UK protection, he lacks legal footing to bring Meghan and the children to Britain. No safe path to attend royal events uninvited. No framework for UK-based charity work without exposure. And now, no moral high ground in the fight over unpaid debts. Some insiders whisper that Harry believes regaining protection could reopen doors to partial royal engagement, especially at global charity events where UK appearances still carry weight. But palace sources are unmoved. The rules were clear in 2020, and they remain clear. Resignation is not reversible, a senior Kensington Palace aide said on September 12, 2025. The Risk Management Board is expected to release its assessment by January 15, 2026, but insiders caution it won't be a simple yes or no outcome. More likely, the board will issue a graded risk profile, leaving final decisions to the Home Office amid mounting public scrutiny. With government finances under the microscope, it's unclear which minister would risk approving taxpayer-funded protection for a couple living full-time in Montecito, California. Even if a new arrangement is approved, it could involve mandatory cost-sharing, a condition the Sussexes have previously rejected, especially with a £5.2 million repayment order hanging overhead, political winds shifting, and public opinion firmly against them. As pressure builds from the UK over the restitution order, Harry's RMB gamble may be his final institutional move. Yet amid all this, Meghan Markle has stayed noticeably silent. No statement from Montecito, no appearances, no media response at all. There was only one quiet move. On December 6, 2025, a spokesperson for Thomas Markle Sr., Meghan's estranged father, confirmed that a handwritten letter from the Duchess had been delivered to his hospital bedside in Angeles City, Philippines, where he was recovering from leg amputation surgery. It was brief, restrained, and carefully worded. She expressed concern and wished him healing. There was no phone call, no video message, no promise to visit, confirmed via a press briefing dated July 12, 2025. According to those close to the family, the letter arrived nearly 10 days after Thomas entered intensive care, and only after UK tabloids spotlighted Meghan's absence during his most critical hours. This family development may seem separate from the financial and security battle unfolding in Britain, but optics in royal affairs are never irrelevant. You cannot host holiday specials about family bonds while refusing to visit your dying father, said Rebecca Cartwright, former royal press secretary, speaking to ITV on August 12, 2025. Her remarks landed just as Meghan's Netflix holiday special was re-released globally on December 5th. One day before the letter was delivered. In the episode filmed in 2024, Meghan speaks about cherishing loved ones and protecting the heart of one's lineage. At the same time, headlines across the UK and Philippines blared, "Meghan's father begs to meet grandchildren before he dies." The contrast hit hard. Even longtime defenders of Meghan's estrangement are now questioning the disconnect between her public messaging and private choices. This isn't the first time her 2018 letter to her father became central to the Mail on Sunday lawsuit she won, but it also exposed deep fractures in their relationship. Back then, Meghan said her father was manipulated by the media into betrayal. But in 2025, the context has changed. She is no longer a working royal, no longer under palace protection, and now operates primarily as a media figure fighting for control of her brand, image, and narrative. Meanwhile, Thomas Markle, an elderly amputee in a foreign hospital, still hopes to meet his grandchildren, Archie and Lilibet, whom he has never seen. We all know the relationship is damaged beyond repair, but in moments like this, humanity should come before history, said Philip Jameson, Royal Observer columnist, on October 12, 2025. Sources close to the Sussexes insist Meghan's hesitation stems from deep trust issues, fears that any contact could be leaked or twisted by the media. She has no guarantee that anything she says won't be published by half-siblings or tabloids, said a Montecito staffer anonymously to Page 6 on August 12, 2025. After years of betrayal, she's choosing safety over sentiment. But critics argue that this choice reinforces the very image of emotional distance and control that palace insiders have quietly emphasized in recent weeks. By not calling, not visiting, and sending a letter that aligned closely with her Netflix re-release timing, Meghan once again faces a narrative of being calculated and brand-driven. This is no longer just a private family rift. It is hardening into a public character story with consequences, and behind closed doors, senior royal aides are increasingly concerned that Meghan's handling of her father's crisis mirrors her broader approach to the monarchy: minimal transparency, maximum message control, and emotional distance wrapped in glossy storytelling. That's the pattern insiders say the palace clocked early. This is exactly why the Queen, while she was alive, remained cautious. Meghan's view of family, according to senior sources, operates through leverage, not legacy. She never saw the crown as something inherited, only as a backdrop to centre herself. "It was always positioning," said a palace source on September 12, 2025. There's also growing concern that if Meghan still refuses to return to the UK even after armed protection is potentially reinstated, it would confirm long-held suspicions that this security fight was never about safety. Prince William reportedly made this crystal clear during a private family strategy meeting on December 9th, stating plainly, "If the barrier is removed and she still won't come, the public will know it was never about risk. It was about royalty and control." Meanwhile, back in real life, Thomas Markle remains in stable condition as of December 11th, 2025, according to doctors in Pampanga. However, his prognosis is guarded, and physicians say the next 10 to 14 days will determine whether recovery is possible. Time is not a luxury here. Royal commentators are now asking the uncomfortable questions. Will Meghan board a plane? Will she record a message? Or will she remain silent until the moment passes? Because if this becomes a deathbed regret, it won't stay private. It will cast a long, cold shadow over every future message of compassion she delivers, including any appeal for mercy from the Crown. On the evening of December 4th, 2025, just hours after the royal restitution order was delivered to Harry and Meghan, a closed-door meeting took place at Clarence House. Present were King Charles III, Princess Anne, Prince William, and 3 senior courtiers, including the Lord Chamberlain and the Keeper of the Privy Purse. Sources familiar with the discussion say the tone was firm and final: no more ambiguity, no more loopholes, no more bending. "The gates must close and remain closed," Princess Anne reportedly said during the meeting. The monarchy's inner circle, often referred to as the Core Four, finalised their unified position that night. The era of leniency toward the Duke and Duchess of Sussex was officially over. Prince William, long considered the most emotionally impacted by the fallout, was said to be deeply shaken by the 2021 Oprah interview, furious over the 2022 Netflix series, and privately humiliated by Harry's 2023 memoir, Spare. Since then, William has driven the effort to formally codify separation between the Crown and the Sussexes. She's not coming back. Not as royal, not as ally, not as family. She's not a security threat. She's a credibility threat, William reportedly stated during an internal strategy session on September 12, 2025. The decision to reject Harry's protection request, even amid an RMB reassessment, was strategic, symbolic, and deliberate. The palace does not want to signal even the faintest hint of institutional reabsorption. No one embodies this harder line more than Princess Anne, architect of the 2023 Royal Financial Accountability Charter. Her leadership style has been described as unapologetically institutional and unsentimental. The monarchy is not a revolving door. We close it with grace, or we collapse under sentiment, Anne reportedly told King Charles during a private meeting on July 12, 2025. And despite his public image as a peacemaker, Charles has been firm behind closed doors. Insiders say he personally reviewed every line of the £5.2 million restitution order before signing it. The King also insisted Harry and Meghan be formally reminded of their 2020 exit agreement, which included clear terms on security, property access, and funding. They returned none of it. They want privileges without participation and left the Crown with the consequences. Charles reportedly said in a briefing to the Lord Chancellor on May 12, 2025. What reportedly angered the King most was the fact that Harry and Meghan never formally returned the keys to Frogmore Cottage and allowed third-party staff access well into 2022. Despite stepping back in January 2020, that detail weighed heavily in final decisions. An internal memo dated August 17, 2023, written by the Keeper of the Privy Purse, warned of this exact scenario. If restitution is not enforced within 2 fiscal years, the Crown's credibility will erode. Legal frameworks must prevail. Emotional diplomacy has failed, the memo stated. That warning went largely ignored, until now. Princess Anne later used that memo as the backbone for invoking the Windsor Clause, granting the sovereign authority to reclaim funds and remove former royals from ceremonial and institutional records. The clause, passed in March 2023, is now being exercised for the first time against Harry and Meghan. Its impact has rippled through the extended royal family. At St James's Palace on December 9th, during the baptism of Princess Beatrice's daughter Athena, senior royals were notably absent. Only Prince Andrew and Sarah Ferguson attended. Charles, Camilla, William, Catherine and Anne stayed away in what insiders described as a silent boycott. Commentators linked the absence to concerns over Sarah Ferguson's private support for Meghan and business ties between Beatrice's husband and California donors connected to Sussex circles. If you stand too close to the fire, you get smoke on your hands, and right now the palace is scrubbing itself clean, said royal analyst Benjamin Slade on Sky News, October 12, 2025. Even Prince Edward, long seen as the quiet diplomat, is said to be aligned with Anne and William. During a Sandringham appearance, Edward reportedly told aides, "We cannot teach duty while enabling defection. The public would never forgive that hypocrisy." With the December 4th restitution order now public and enforceable, and the Sussexes given until December 31st, 2025 to respond, the lines are fully drawn. No return to duties, no honorary protection, no ceremonial status, no presence in royal registries or Commonwealth representation. This is not a family feud. It is a formal exile backed by constitutional and financial authority. What remains uncertain is whether Harry and Meghan will comply or escalate, but public patience in Britain appears exhausted following the December 4th restitution order demanding repayment of £5.2 million in misused royal funds. The mood right now isn't sympathy. It's straight-up anger. The numbers don't lie, and the public is done playing nice. A December 9th poll from The Sun shows a jaw-dropping 91.6% of readers saying Prince Harry should not get taxpayer-funded armed police protection. Only 7% backed any return of funding, while a tiny 1.4% sat on the fence. That's not division. That's a blowout. They didn't just leave the system, they cashed out big time, building podcast empires, Netflix contracts, and book deals along the way. So people are asking the obvious question: why should taxpayers foot the bill for their security, legal fights, or luxury renovations? Janet Crott, a retired nurse from Kent, summed it up bluntly on BBC Radio 4 on October 12, 2025, saying the country's mood has flipped. The curiosity around the Sussexes' American life is gone, replaced by cold math and hard facts. The UK already paid, and it's not paying again. That December 4th Crown statement didn't come out of nowhere. Behind the scenes, the Royal Finance Office had been quietly stacking receipts, building a brutal timeline of Sussex spending. Yes, £2.4 million was repaid for Frogmore Cottage renovations back in 2021, but here's the kicker: the keys were never returned. Private staff reportedly kept using royal estate resources well into 2022. Then there's another £1.6 million in security and maintenance costs racked up without approval, often routed through third-party intermediaries. Thousands more in legal and media consulting fees were quietly pushed through charitable organisations still tied to the Sussex name until mid-2023. The public never saw the full picture until now. Back in early 2020, when Harry and Meghan stepped away from royal life, there was goodwill. Their call for financial independence landed with a lot of people. Many believed their stories of pressure and media chaos. But then came the high-dollar deals, the tell-all memoir, selective interviews and constant contradictions. And that goodwill started fading fast. It's not just that they left. It's how they tried to stay halfway in. One moment they're framed as wounded victims, the next they're cashing checks off the pain. Royal historian Claudia Leviston told the Times of London on October 12, 2025, they are monetising the wounds, and that line hit hard. Insiders say the real breaking point was Harry's repeated legal battles for armed police protection, losing twice, appealing twice, and refusing to accept the outcome. To many, it screamed entitlement. At the centre of this storm is one very specific demand: publicly funded UK armed police protection for the Sussex family. And to most Britons, it feels wildly out of touch, especially when Harry and Meghan live in a £12.2 million Montecito estate, guarded by private security, gated roads and luxury most families can't even imagine during an economic squeeze. This isn't just about money. It's about fairness. One caller on LBC Radio on August 12, 2025 nailed it. If I don't feel safe going to the grocery store, does the government send me a bodyguard? Of course not. That sentiment is spreading fast, even across party lines in Parliament. On December 10th, Liberal Democrat MP Rachel Lynde called any attempt to restore Sussex security a misuse of public trust. Labour MP Imran Sadiq followed up by pushing for a clarity motion that would block non-working royals from accessing Crown-funded protection altogether. And this backlash isn't stopping at the tabloids. It's rolling straight into Westminster. As of December 11th, 5 sitting MPs are reportedly drafting an amendment to the Royal Household Funding Review Act. Slated for debate in early 2026, the proposal would lock in strict rules for state-funded royal protection, including UK residency, verified working duties, and automatic exclusion after formal resignation. Insiders are already calling it the Sussex Clause, and momentum is building fast. As Conservative MP Eleanor Dayton put it on November 12, 2025, the royal family cannot afford a double standard, and neither can the taxpayer. The Sussexes' biggest strength back in 2020 was their emotional narrative, but that currency has run dry. Repeated appeals centred on danger, trauma, and isolation now ring hollow against luxury events, celebrity circles, and carefully staged philanthropy. Even Harry's latest legal petition, seen by some as a last shot at reinstating protection, is being viewed as another attempt to bend the rules. Meanwhile, public attention has shifted forward toward Prince William, Princess Catherine, and the future shape of the monarchy itself. In this climate, Harry and Meghan's demands aren't seen as tragic anymore. They're seen as transactional. As of December 11th, 2025, the couple reportedly have 20 days to respond to a formal restitution demand issued by King Charles III and Princess Anne. The total, £5.2 million, tied to unauthorised spending on royal properties, security, and legal media costs. They must settle or formally contest the amount by midnight, December 31st, 2025, under the terms of the Windsor Clause. Miss that deadline and the next phase kicks in. Institutional erasure. A palace source put it bluntly on October 12, 2025. The sovereign household will proceed without pause. According to official palace documents reviewed by The Times, failure to comply will trigger sweeping consequences on January 1, 2026. That includes formal revocation of the Duke and Duchess of Sussex titles, removal from all royal ceremonial records, the line of succession visuals, Commonwealth charts, termination of remaining honorary military roles and charity patronages, future royal events, off-limits, except for funerals or legally mandated state occasions. What stands out most is the rare unity among senior royals. Princess Anne, the architect of the financial clause, has been unwavering. Prince William has stepped up as the public guardian of institutional trust. Queen Camilla has signalled support through carefully timed appearances, and even Prince Edward and Sophie have reportedly paused contact in recent weeks. The message is loud and clear. The crown is consolidating. The era of indulgence is done. What Harry and Meghan do next will lock in their legacy. Compliance may allow private dignity, but it seals the end of their royal chapter. Resistance, on the other hand, leads to one outcome: removal. Insiders say King Charles III was quiet after signing the restitution order. Aides described him as reflective, not regretful. He reportedly told his private secretary, "A father's heart will always ache, but a king's duty cannot. That line says everything. If you want more deep dives like this, hit like, subscribe, share this video, and drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think the deadline will be met, or is this truly the end of the Sussex chapter?